Hey everyone, welcome back to the Outpost. Glad you stopped by. Well, I'm taking time out to do a little question and answer. I've got several comments on the cabin and other things. I can't answer them all at once, but I thought I would answer a few. One of them is how do you choose the trees to use for timbers? Well, the most abundant tree that I have here is poplar. I also have yellow pine. I have quite a few of those. But when I made the choice on the poplar, from what I understand, most of the cabins that were built back in the mountains that were built back in the 1800s, a lot of them were built out of poplar. Once poplar gets dry, it gets very hard. And the reason that I had burned all of those timbers was to help kind of, treat the post so it wouldn't rot as quick. And which, that is a thing that's been used by a lot of different cultures, burning wood, not just the Japanese and not just the Romans, but like I say, many cultures. So that's the reason I went ahead and did that. But I primarily picked it because it was the most abundant tree that I had, and they were good size. So if I cut those out, that will open up the canopy to let more sunlight in, where the smaller trees will grow a whole lot faster. And then the yellow pine, I decided that I would go ahead and cut it for siding and for the walls that I build. That way, when I stain the two of them, there'll be a really nice contrast. They won't look the same. It'll be different from one to the next. So that's primarily how I chose that, just something that I had in my head. Another question was, how did I come up with the plans for the cabin? I don't know. I thought when I first started this that I wasn't going to build anything really big. I was going to maybe make it 25 by 25, but when I got to thinking about it, I thought, well, if the kids come up here and they want to stay over, instead of having a couch in the living room or the family room, whatever you want to call it, that folded out into a bed, I would go ahead and make it just a little bit longer and add in a second bedroom. So when I get done, it'll have two bedrooms, it'll have a bathroom, a place for an office, it'll have a kitchen, and then it'll have 13 by 26 kind of like large living area. I don't need a whole lot of area. My plans are to downsize and not keep as much stuff. Have you ever done that before? Every time that you move more stuff because you end up keeping a lot of it. And I've got stuff that I haven't used in years, so what's the point in me keeping it? Now if it's a tool or something like that, it's different. I keep those because I constantly use them. But clothes and just knick-knack items and things like that, I need to get rid of a lot of that and kind of simplify my life more. So that's kind of the plans that I just thought it up in my head. And then when I started building the cabin, I knew that I was going to have some sort of center support going down the house. And so I thought, well, am I going to make it 24 feet wide, or am I going to make it 26 feet wide? Well, anyway, I finally decided on the 26 feet. And so then I thought, well, if I just keep going this way and cutting that in half, each section would be 13 feet. So I made 6 squares that are 13 by 13, which made it easy for me to cut out the timbers for it. It's going to make it, dimensional, where the posts are sitting exactly the same all the way down through the house. So it just made things simpler for me to do that. Another question was, how was I going to maintain my driveway? My tractor actually has a box blade on the back of it, but I've also got a 7-foot grader blade. So my driveway is gravel, And I use the box blade a lot because it stays on there. It's a counterbalance for me hauling logs on the front, and that added boom back there was where I could hook up to the log in case the bucket couldn't lift it up, where I would be able to drag to it and without having to take the box blade off. So I kind of had to jury rig it up there, but it primarily it stays there, and it added maybe a couple 100 pounds of counterbalance, so that helped a lot. But yeah, every once in a while when I go down the driveway, if I go to get a log or if I'm coming back up, I'll drop the blade, you know, and hit the center, because a lot of times the center, you know, where your tires run all the time, the center gets a little bit high, and I'll knock that down and kind of spread the gravel back. But it's not going to be long where I have to actually put the grater blade on there and turn it at an angle and start pulling the rocks back away from the side, pull them towards the center. But that's how I maintain my driveway. And when I actually built this driveway, or had it built, I angled the road and I made a long sweep going down around this hill that actually goes down behind my sawmill, and I made a gradual sweep all the way around to a little creek where I had to put in a little tile that was 20 feet long so that I could cross that little creek. But I didn't want any transitions or switchbacks in my road, and I know that sometimes you can't do that, but I thought if I angle the road or bank the road towards where I'm cutting and go all the way around, then I could put a ditch down this side and it would drain all the way down to the creek. The water would never cross the driveway, and if it did snow and I did happen to slide or something, I would actually slide in towards the bank instead of away from the bank. I've seen that happen before where they didn't bank the road correctly. But so I've never really had a problem with water running across the driveway, and it's been in I guess a couple of years now because of that, the way it was angled. That's how I'm going to maintain the driveway. I've also had a question about more cooking videos, and I do intend to do those. Sometimes I do some cooking, as you've seen on the videos, you know, when I'm working up here. Sometimes I'm really into what I'm doing, and I've just brought maybe some bologna and bread with me, where I just kind of ate a sandwich and I just kept on going. But my daughter, she comes up here when she can and cooks, and you know, I did a video here a while back about cooking the deer fajitas. Good friend, he's going to come back and do another one here probably within the next, I think, 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. But yeah, he's going to be back up here cooking, and then we may introduce some other types of cooking along with that. So you all stay tuned, because we will be doing some more cooking up here, and I may be trying to introduce some others with their styles as well. So we will continue the cooking on the channel. Oh, here's another question that I had is, how did I find the land and decide to build here? You could go back a few videos where I showed the former cabin that I built. There is just like a 6-second or 8-second clip that I added to one of the previous videos that I did that shows the cabin from a distance, because, you know, I sold it to another couple. They're kind of private, so I don't really want to go up there and try to film the cabin or anything. But it was 3,000 square feet. It was 2-story. It had 4 bathrooms, 4 bedrooms. Really nice cabin. But this actually was the original place that I was going to build till I had decided to do the other one. So when I got divorced and sold that, and decided to go ahead and build again, I actually moved back over here to the original site where I was going to build. Now, how did I find this property? My grandparents actually had purchased this property back in the 60s as a retirement place when we were living in Michigan. My grandfather wanted to move back farther south and retire, and he bought 200 acres here. So, you know, when I got divorced, I sold some of the acreage along with that other home, but this section over here hasn't been used. It's kind of been untouched somewhat. I've got a field down there that is all growed up. I'll have to get down there and work that field at some point, but this has been my major project and the priority up here. But there's probably 5 acres down there in the bottom that's field that needs to be worked up. That's actually how it came about. We actually found the property through a real estate company like I said, back in the 60s, and it was purchased then. That's to answer your question. I mean, I hope that this question and answer is answering a few of the questions. I've still got a whole host of them, but I decided to do these since it was raining today, and the others, you know, I'm going to reserve for when I can actually get out and kind of like show and tell. But I'm hoping the question and answer is answering a lot of the questions that you all have. Hope everyone has a great evening. I'm going to go ahead and shut this down now. I need to get home, make some dinner. Been out here working today and kind of hungry. So hope you all have a great evening. Take care. We look forward to seeing you all up here at the Outpost in the future.